finance right now is in a very critical, the finance profession, it's in a very critical, decisive moment. And as finance professionals, if we don't respond the right way, this is going to mark the end of the finance profession as we know it.
Wow.
100%. I have no doubt about it.
That's a big statement.
This podcast is sponsored by. And this podcast is sponsored by.
So we're starting the first episode of the Leaders Insight. And the name is very clear for everyone that we're going to bring leaders from everywhere to share their own insights in that podcast. And the minute I got engaged with you, Tamer, in the discussion, I felt the energy, the passion, the expertise at the same time. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's an honor. It's the first time that I know that I'm the first on that series, and it's an honor. And exciting at the same time. So thank you very much for the invite, and I hope we tell the people something of interest and of value.
Okay. So in general in life, everyone is unique and everyone is different, and especially in the finance industry, because we have the certain roles to play everywhere. People perceive finance leader or finance personnel like they are the same character everywhere when based on the job itself.
Sure.
So I just want, before we go into technical discussion, I just want to have a question for you related to the personal mastery. How do you define personal mastery in general? How do you see different people with their strengths and weakness point in general?
This has been an issue, I think, or I believe since I was young. I believe the first thing that a lot of people miss is to understand themselves. What are the limits and what are the boundaries where they need to push? On a physical level, if you hear somebody who's inspiring as Kobe Bryant, for example, it's very easy to understand. I'm slow. I don't jump as high. I don't throw as accurate or as far, so it's easy to tell and define. On a personal capacity, it's very complex. You would the human psychology all the time tends to make a person would tend to make himself happy at the end of the day. It's very hard to face yourself on your strength, on your weaknesses. And honestly, if you know that this is your strength, this is a moment of decline and a long-term decline. Personal mastery is around believing all the time that you lack something. There is a missing piece that you need to get. And I think this is something that I benefited out of throughout my life. I was stubborn at a certain point. I didn't want to realize that, just like any teenager at a certain point. And then you start facing yourself. And if it hurts the most, this is the most area where you need to, it's just like mathematics, just like running, just like anything. If it hurts the most, you need to work on it the most. It's as simple as that, and it's okay to be to fall short. It's okay not to be anything. It's okay to be stubborn. Stubborn is the end of a spectrum of being persistent, and every trait is like that. So if you find that you are the far end of a trait at any end, you need just to adjust. You need to work on it. It's going to increase your stress level, because those are those are going to come superficial to your nature, and this is where your stress level at work is going to increase. The stuff that doesn't come natural to you is where your stress level is accumulating, and that's it. That's it till you get to a journey where I think there are certain milestones 30, 35, 40, 45. And at each and every one of them, there is a milestone, and you need to be aware of it. What change in your personality till at a certain point, starting 40, you're at peace with yourself, you're at peace with others. There are certain things that doesn't make you as angry as before. And even you can control your anger, and how can you unleash it, just like Hulk. When is the right time to let go that steam, where it's going to get things right and it's not going to get wasted. It's just a journey that starts with awareness. And if you accept, and I was just having this discussion with my son who's 8 the other day, and I told him my job is not to make you proud of yourself every day. No, my job is to tell you where you're lacking. I'm not going to expose you. I'm not going to put you in an embarrassing situation. But my job is to push you where you need the push, at least from my point of view, given my experience. And you need to understand all the time that I don't mean any harm. I wish you all the best. You are the only one on earth who I'm going to work till my last breath to be better than me. This is something that you need to understand. So awareness, if you were, and I believe this is an issue with the methodology of bringing up kids right now. You need to accept yourself the way you are, and then.
True.
And then you need to make yourself a better person. And that's it.
So during my podcast journey, I've never heard the word unleash anger. And when you choose to unleash anger, it's like a sort of another power you have, Tamer.
No, it's an energy. It's just like any energy, and if you ignore it, you're losing on a lot. I've channeled my energy towards work and making myself better for years and years and years. This is an energy and just an emotion, just like any emotion that you need to manage to get the best out of.
Okay.
No, you need to channel it in a way that, and it starts with being angry at yourself.
True. True. So quickly, another point as introduction. I do believe, Tamer, that everyone is like a construction. There is a base, there's a foundation, and then you go to the building after that. And the foundation of the building will be your childhood, definitely. Everyone, not only you. Do you remember any moment or any highlight out of your childhood that got impact your career and your personal life in general?
Yes, there are a couple of major points, actually. One is technology, where it has served throughout my career in a way. And another one, which is technology related, but affected my approach in life at large. Computer knowledge when I was young, let's say middle school, high school, was kind of rare. And the people who knew that stuff are quite special. I asked somebody who was working in my father's company at the time to help me, because he was the IT computer guru at the time, and he refused to help. So since then, I made it a point that I'm going to teach myself almost everything. Read, and even you grew in Egypt at the same time, I guess. If you know the title of a book, and if you know the title and the author, you've made it.
Yeah, true.
So there were a couple of bookshops where you can get the book. But if you know the two together, that's amazing. That was one. And the other one was pushing my family at the time where there was no appreciation for computers, and computers were understood as the game consoles of the day. or a little bit advanced, because this is what most of the people were using. And I started coding BASIC. That was a life changer for me. And it's part of an essential knowledge that would shape somebody's brain. And we'll get to that with the first journey of digital transformation later on. But I got that from somebody who's a coder. He was confused. How am I laying down what needs to be done this way? And the question, are you in finance or are you a coder? And I asked him, why? You see what you're dealing with. I need to capture the stuff from a trial balance. And you've seen a trial balance. And he told me, you think like a coder. This is the only, I was not hit by lightning or by a meteorite that led me to think this way. It was only that at the time of middle school, I nagged for a whole summer to get a PC, which was called Sakhr, stone at the time, and started coding BASIC, and started with the book that was in the box. And what was followed by others, very simple. I didn't write anything amazing that helped humanity, but it shaped my mind, obviously, in a certain way. And it appears whenever I talk to a business analyst who is working on a program, and not for me, because mostly I write the stuff I need somehow. They're amazed of how somebody from finance is giving them that crisp vision of what they need. And it's and I recommend it to anyone. It makes you think, obviously, in an organized way, because I don't believe that there isn't anything as organized as a program. So it's an advice to anyone who has kids and who has the opportunity of just basic learning, whatever that is available in Python. Python is a very generous material right now that kids could work with, and very advanced stuff as well. Any programming methodology, and it's the methodology, not the syntax, not the result, not anything.
Okay.
That's it.
So you see this moment where you asked for some technology and you got refusal, and then things started to get bigger in your brain, in your mind. So it's like a true evidence. Whatever you went through during your childhood, it does impact and shape your future. I believe at that moment, if you just asked for one thing and you got it immediately, maybe you never know that you just tried and then you don't like it.
I don't know, but it depends on I was blessed that way.
Okay.
There are very rare stuff that turned me off, or that I reacted to such situations or challenges in a negative way. Actually, I knew a couple of geniuses throughout my life who went through their depression, maybe because of their IQ, or because of the challenges that they didn't respond, and one of them was a drug addict. I still remember him till now. But I didn't have this thing, and this is where I'm telling you to channel the anger. The refusal would generate some kind of an engine that you need to channel it in the right direction. Between anger, stubbornness, whatever you want to call it. No, I'm just going to make it.
Okay, so that's the perfect moment to go to our subject for today. So our subject today is digital finance, and to be honest, Tamer, the word digital finance is misused everywhere.
Yes.
These days, and there is no clear definition of the digital finance and how we can get the key factors that shape up the digital finance in any organization. But before we jump into the end state of digital finance for now, the finance industry, they have went through massive changes and transformation and expectation as well from the business, given what we're facing as we speak now. If you just can share some insights about the evolvement of finance function before digital finance as a function, and what kind of significant changes that happened to the finance industry, at least in the past decade. Let's use 1 decade for now.
Okay. Finance right now is in a very critical, the finance profession, it's in a very critical, decisive moment. And as finance professionals, if we don't respond the right way, this is going to mark the end of the finance profession as we know it.
Wow.
100%. I have no doubt about it.
That's a big statement.
It is a big statement. I stand behind it. It's a risk to any finance professional right now. If we don't change and we change the mindset, things are going to end, and I'm going to explain how. Between the regulation, IFRS, so let's say back in, I think 2000, when IFRS started hitting companies in a bad way, restating the results locally, announced locally, people seeing the differences. I think that was 2006, 2007. As far as I remember, when it came into action, when it was enforced and so on, as far as I remember, I don't remember the exact year. The profession itself is based all the time based on laws, regulations, responsibility towards investors, financing institutions, and so on and so forth. And the definition at the time, let's say 20 years ago, was mainly controllership. With the start of the financial analyst role and the budgeting and planning roles. And for the traditional financial controller, they were not that convinced of those roles. And then things started moving, more regulations, more appreciation of regulations, and more emphasis into the role of data and financial data and translating the operational data into finance. Then you start getting the commercial finance, strategic finance part of the finance, and it's having more glamour with more anger on the controller accounting side. And as a finance professional, as I understood, you can see the friction between the controller's organization and a multinational and the commercial finance, strategic or budgeting and planning, and the friction that happens there.
True.
So I would call my role in NCR, for example, as an advocate between the operation and the finance organization. Working as a budgeting and planning quite a considerable period of my role there. To try to get things to be done within the rules, the rules and regulations, and how could it be doable. So when I got, for example, to a leadership position, I told the team, guys, never come back with, no, it cannot be done. Let's work together on how to do it. Those are the laws and regulations. This is the governance system of the company. This is what is allowed and not allowed by accounting principles. Let's try how can we reconstruct this within that framework to deliver what you need. So this is where you excel. Anybody could say no. Any controller in the company could say no.
True.
How can you redesign this to make it work in a way that is legal without a breach of anything? This is your job. There is a bit of creativity in there. So the problem that the need for commercial strategic finance have grown, most of the finance people who have joined those roles come from a controller's background. They are doing it with the mindset of a controller, of yes and no. Not in the sense, and this is what I told the team several times, what do you come to the table with? You're not a judge. You're not a judge to sit there and say, no, right, wrong, go do this, go do that. You are a support function at core. if you don't come to the table with analysis, with guidance, and usually you will not be the most senior person on the table. So you need to influence your way. You need to know when to throw the piece of information. You're not there to do urban planning for a deal. Somebody else will be doing that. You need to throw the information when it's needed in a supportive, not authoritative way. The mindset needs to change. So you move after that to, okay, we have a lot of data. We have wealth of records. And how can we use it? The problem that those databases have been created and those systems have been created where there was a huge fracture between operation and finance. Everyone is working in their own universe. So they don't have the same closing times. They're not set up in the same ways. You need to re-engineer certain financial data to arrive at the operation or the other way around. And for a lot of operation people, it's simple math. They don't understand accruals. They don't understand how it works. They don't understand FX. They don't understand closing calendars and times. And they start publishing their data. And you're all on the same table where you need a week to work on the same thing, even to verify, and you're smashed with the question, is that right or wrong? Why don't we see this in your results? So I was invited to a couple of round tables where CFOs said clearly, we killed dashboards because it was exposing us. We couldn't give answers. The C-suite could get to very granular data that the analyst can even find his way within our financial records to answer. So this needs to be killed. My approach was completely different. My approach was, did I answer your question?
So, if I may summarize what you said on the first question. So, how the finance function has evolved, it's evolved from being in a controllership into a true business partner.
Yes.
From being a judge to be a core at the heart of the supporting the business.
Yes.
It evolves of the rise of the commercial finance as well.
Yep.
And it evolves when it comes to skill as well, related to not being the senior person on the table and how to influence and be ready with the data. Did I get answer your question?
Yes, because you are representative at the CFO will not be on that meeting where this specific thing is being decided. So probably there will be a senior analyst on the table, but they need to influence their way and get the injection in the right vein, if we put it in medical terms.
I agree. But now, for the sake of the time, if this is, we didn't start even the digital finance, but before we go there, do you have like a key bullet points of what are the factors of digital finance transformation as a journey?
It's being abused, honestly.
I agree.
It's being abused. It's a pretense rather than a slogan or a dimension. People are abusing it to generate money out of it through deals of digital transformation, through selling technology that is very limited and narrow in implementation and scope, that is going to fade in a couple of years. And then the finance department, once there is any change in the dynamics of the business, are going to be at the same point again. Digital transformation is a foundation that is going to answer all of these questions and challenges that we have. And this is not an exaggeration. I've been through the same situations where I could answer the questions, where I was ready. And it was pure luck because of the passion. So this is how it worked. So I was, and a shout out to Todd Bianchi, who's my manager in NCR. He was the previous CFO who recommended me for the role. I was the global CFO for services supply chain in NCR. Very challenging function operationally and accordingly financially. It's spread between corporate and regional P&Ls. Probably you would have a flavor of that, and you need to summarize that to a vice president somehow as his CFO, his business partner, and as well guide the controllers. That was spread over 68 entities. And it was very challenging. My answer to any challenge throughout my finance career was all the time technology. So I worked closely with him because of technology. Given how short people is, he didn't have his right arm. Everybody is just diving in his area, his region, and so on. And he never had a right arm. He never had that luxury. I worked closely with him because I designed the first O2 consolidation of that complicated P&L with the FX treatment. The first building block, and again, thinking about programming and modular thinking and things like that, on the plane, I designed the first building block, which is the P&L sheet that needs to collect the data from a country. And he was shocked when he told me, so you're going to replicate that for each and every country? And I told him, yes. I stayed there. I was on that mission first trip to the US for professional reasons. And he thought that by the end of the 2 weeks, I will not deliver. He used to have a smile whenever he used to go past my cubicle where I was sitting at the time. And we consolidated what took at the time a week to consolidate. That was finished in an hour and a half.
Wow.
So that was the first step. I started working closely with the guy with the promise, with the extra mile. Because I'm based in Dubai, he's based in the US, and he was worried, are you going? And he never asked for it. I told him, no, I'll be there. And he told me, what about the time difference? I don't worry. It's a week in the month. I don't mind. So the next step was working with Todd very closely. I didn't mind the time difference. I was supporting him during the close process, giving him what is required. And then another hit came, which was a very negative one at the face value, very positive at large, that all of that manual work is going to be available, or a big portion of the manual work is going to be available in a consolidation and reporting solution. But we need to redesign everything within that system, given that it's spread between corporate and regional, and there is no system that would generate that P&L. Okay, next step. Let's do that. So the 1.5 hour became 20 minutes. So the guy loves me even more. And I work with him even more. And I get exposed to global level decisions and discussions and challenges and requests even more. And thankfully, I was proving myself, and VPs and executive VPs knew the name. So the time came and he was taking another role, so he recommended me for the position.
Okay.
And one of the other amazing leaders that I worked with, and I have so much appreciation for, Mike Chandler. I've learned true leadership from that guy. He's an amazing person. I remember that what was supposed to be the interview, and he told me, Tamer, I'm doing that only for courtesy and for the process. I'm happy to work with you. But on that same meeting, when I started the digital transformation for the region, because given the complexity, how big the databases are, the breadth of stuff that we need to deal with, from transportation and warehousing in 68 countries and so on and so forth. So the question at the time was how to support that, and the only answer was digital transformation through free to use technology which is out there. And this is where I'm going to talk about that, but this is the thing too for the finance profession. The technology is out there. You don't need anyone to help you with. What you need to do to know is your Excel is gone. Your Excel is just the window to deal with your database. Access is gone. If you don't know that by now and you're living in that time capsule, you need to wake up. The technology is out there. There is a technology that deals with 80 million rows if you want, 100 million rows. It's as big as your RAM. It's free to use. And if I can mention the name, it's Power Query. It's part of Excel. So you need to work with database. You can have an upload file. You can connect to the operational database, and you need to agree with the operation how to translate it in terms of time. You need to document all the stuff that you complain about that it doesn't match your closing calendar. You need to define that variance. It closes on the 1st and you close on the 28th. You need to define those 2 days. You need to understand what's going on to be able to help. If you stand out and say, no, I don't have the exact to the cent, we're going to be gone. A data scientist is going to go and make it. And he's going to make that logical relationship, and he's going to replace you.
Okay.
This is the thing. You need to understand. You need to understand the challenges on the IT. You need to understand how the database is structured. You need to have a flexible mindset to understand how the operational data translates into records. How can you build other columns later on when you receive the data to translate that to something that you would understand using the same data? This is the whole thing. It's not about the dashboard. The dashboard is an exposure. The dashboard, if the digital transformation doesn't happen bottoms up, it's a frustration, it's a risk to the finance organization, and it's a risk to the organization itself. Because the C-suite are going to get the transaction level detail on an operation level, which you don't see in your journal entry.
True.
So if you don't understand the relationship and build that coding and decoding, you're gone. Someone else, and it's a logical relationship. It's not an alien language, or it's not a dead language where we don't have a Rosetta Stone. You need to build that language. You need to open up. You need to understand the other challenges. You need to translate. This is the core challenge of the finance organization, and this is the foundation to be able to do your commercial strategic role.
Correct.
It's your capacity to walk into the meeting with the questions, not that I need a week to answer your questions. All the base analysis need to be there, and then you can respond to the challenges. This is where we're failing right now. Since I've left NCR, I've met a lot of leaders. I went through a lot of interviews. I met business owners where they're super frustrated with their finance functions for the same reason. For the same exact reason. The room is locked. We have our own business. We're not talking to anyone. We're not supplying anything. Forget us a week in the month or 10 days. And in some cases where there isn't a chain of reporting, there isn't even clear monthly reporting.
True.
There isn't a weekly understanding of the hot topics in the business and the hot areas. because we didn't close. You need to find a solution. I got bored of being the roadblock to answers because I need a week. No, I'm not going to need a week. Actually, when the whole setup was there, one of the team that I was working with, she had a job security issue for some reason. It was only in her brain. And I stopped talking to the people. I stopped wasting their time. The database is there. With simple clicks, I can get whatever I need. Anything. At any country. At any level. So I stopped wasting the time. I can use, I created it and I can use it. And she called me and she told me, am I being fired? And I thought, why? You're controlling a very important area. No, if you want to feel good about yourself, this is not the thing. And you never call me. You don't ask for data. And I told her, it's simple, it's there. Don't you have more time instead of the continuous calls and meetings for ad hoc stuff?
True.
I can get the data. It's the same database. I have no question that it's the right file, or there is a problem with the link, or any of the traditional stuff that we deal with as finance. Is this the latest version? None of that. This is the published data. This is what we agree with. This is linked to the operational database. I see the whole link at a click.
Yeah. I think, Tamer, you're hitting a few stones with a few points with the same stone. So you, in the past 5-6 minutes, you just touch point on the data democratization of the organization.
100%.
It's not exclusive anymore. You hit the stone of finance closed their own door. I love the image that you articulated. We're doing month-end closing. We're finishing the closing now to make sure that everything is correct. After 10 days or 3 or 4 days of closing, then the first question came to them. I need 1 week to get an answer of that question.
Yeah.
Because the struggle of having the data on a more systematic way is not there. And they do the effort, but the effort is not matching the expectation for the business as well. And another point, the merge between finance and IT. Remember our discussion about the job description now for the new finance role. It does have include having an
it's
a
just
coding
like
background.
ESG.
Yeah.
I hate that part because there's no specific definition of it, and it's intimidating in a way. And it's demeaning to the finance function. It's in your face. No, the finance need to up their game in terms of understanding the constraints of IT. The world is... I kicked people from my team out of a meeting room because of this attitude. No. And we were discussing a change and implementing a new system. And I told them, okay, so given your comments, the company is not going to implement the system, walk out. Walk out and think about why you haven't practiced what we do, which is support. You need to understand how you work around it if there is no way, if there is no workaround. But to say, no, this cannot be done, no, you're out before this decision.
I agree.
It's one of those moments where I unleashed the anger because it was a decisive moment, a new CEO with a new team, they're working on their journey, either that we support the success, and we invest on a long-term relationship, or we recreate that image. Where probably that CEO, he's not a 20-year-old kid. He is a well-seasoned leader. Okay, oh my God, I'm dealing with the same finance function again, which is not. And I'm not going to allow it.
Okay. Now, with this evolving situation when it comes to data democratization, changing behaviors, setting expectation from finance, how do you see the CFO and CIO working together on that journey?
And it takes two to tango. If the CIO, I went through a situation like that in my new role in my latest job, where I was using operational data. The only thing that took me a week The team refused for 6 months to give me data because they were worried, how am I going to present the data? This is one, or let's put it this way. The first step was he won't be able to deal with those records. Okay, we're talking about till now because the database is accumulating something like 5 million records. Second thing, we're not sure how he's going to present it. So they were using all the deep technical terminologies because I know a bit with time, just to not give me the data. They gave me the data, but they thought that I needed at a certain time given the finance calendar. And it was always different. And they came with the extreme frustration. You want it on that day because, guys, hold on. If this is the right time, this is what's going to be communicated because this is what represents the financial data. It's okay to discuss it 2 days after the intended date. It's perfectly fine if this is your limitation. And they were shocked. And now, when they want a quick piece of access or information, or they are in trouble writing the query to get the data and present it, they come to me. Because the data is there. And the way to pivot it and put it in a chart, it's seconds away instead of writing a query and then going through the QA, the quality assurance, to make sure that it's capturing the stuff the right way and it's the right data set. And this is a matter of 24 hours, and then you have a data set that you need to work on. So it's a moment of a personal win. I wouldn't deny it. When I was asked for the first time, we need that piece of data, and we need it very simple and so on. But at the same time, there was a selfish moment and an ideal moment where, after 10 months of back and forth, it delivered. And people I'm promoting a different role for finance. I'm promoting, okay, we never had dealt with a finance person who's doing this stuff. I've been told by finance people that I'm a rogue finance professional. So I'm promoting for the profession, and I'm promoting that we could be of value instead of somebody who's smart enough to write all the accounting stuff in AI, which is happening right now, and the data scientists taking over the commercial piece, because it's a discipline. You provide a lot of added value if you know accounting, and you can help the organization on how this is going to reflect, but they can live without it.
Okay. I think that the last question I have for you, Tamer, and it will be the sum of all what you have shared. If you want to give an advice now to a new joiner joining the finance industry as we speak now, giving all the bold statement that you highlighted about the risk moment for finance industry, to pause and think and act now, not tomorrow, to act now on these. What kind of advice are you going to give it to the new generation joining the finance industry as we speak now?
First of all, it's a very challenging field where work-life balance is a luxury. It's not going to happen early in your career, and maybe even late in your career, because it's a relative term given your energy. So this is one thing, and your commitment and other stuff. The other thing is that it's changing, and whatever probably that you're being taught right now in your first job is not going to last for long. Maybe in the same organization or in another organization, we're going to see something completely different. If you don't learn DAX, Power Query, Power Pivot, you can write the code yourself. And I'm not talking yet about Power BI, because Power BI is data visualization, so let's forget about that. This could be done later. The tools that you can support the business with, not the tools that you walk into a meeting and you celebrate that you have certain things. how to build a database, how to construct a database for finance that supports scenario simulation, that makes it easy to construct the data. What's the difference between a business database and a database that is going to serve the audit? The fields are different, the assumptions are different. If you're not going to learn that, probably you're going to end up in another profession.
Okay.
Because there won't be a vacancy for you in the organization.
Okay. Tamer, I have to say that whatever you're saying is like a wake-up call, to be honest, for everyone. And I love the approach of being bold, not to put to sugarcoat the statement. You say it as it is. You give people the reality of the situation and how they need to act and think as we speak now. It's simply a wake-up call, if I may say. I've seen other people speak about digital transformation or data visualization or a skill gap or a change behaviors, but they try to make it nice. It's good to have. You have to do this. You have to have a plan. But the way you articulated this, it is phenomenal, I have to say. So thank you so much for bringing this clarity with that boldness to the audience as well.
Mahmoud, you are a finance professional and you see the frustration in the organization that you're working for. Mm-hmm. The frustration is mounting.
Yeah, I agree.
If there isn't a commitment of a finance function in certain organization for IFRS, GAAP, and so on, we won't have a job. Because fact of the matter, we're failing at large.
True. But at the same time, it's good that to have such leader like you, Tamer, where they can see what business is expecting yesterday, not even tomorrow, and what's the reality that we have. So we need as much leader as you to play the bridge, to challenge everyone, to upscale and rescale and learn and relearn as well what they need to do as we speak now. So even if I have a quick comment before, because time flies with you, Tamer, even DAX and coding now, if you have expertise, you can go to AI as well and can write the code for you. So now even this knowledge is evolving as we speak now. So you need to catch the train. The train is flying.
Yes.
It's already at high speed as we speak
100%.
now.
100%.
But overall, I enjoyed the discussion with you, Tamer. That was a really enlightening discussion on the digital transformation and what are the key factors associated with that. And as I said before, I love your boldness in delivering the message. And it was really a pleasure having you in the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahmoud, and thank you again. It's an honor and exciting, and to be the first in that series and to be invited. And it's a recognition. We don't know each other from before.
Sure.
Just to get the call that we would love to discuss this with you is a recognition to me. So I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the time, and it was amazing.
Thank you so much, Tamer.
Thank you.
Thank you.